Kody Brown's sad goodbye from Sister Wives. Kody Brown, the star of the reality program Sister Wives, has finally made a hard choice after being unable to handle the stress and pain of his life. He has chosen to leave everything behind, his family, wife, and kids, and move somewhere far away, all by himself. Kody used to think he was a proud man since he had 4 wives and 18 children. But as time went on, that pride became a big burden that took away his peace of mind and spiritual contentment. He was worn out from fighting with his family, having strained relationships, and his wife's unhappiness. Robin Brown, Kody's closest and final wife, cried when she found out he was leaving. She said, "I'm going with you, Kody. Don't let me go alone." Kody, on the other hand, was very forceful and said, "No, Robin, I'm going alone this time. I don't want anyone else to come with me." These words appeared to stab Robin's heart like 1,000 needles. So, Kody Brown is about to start a new chapter in his life, a lonely journey to find inner peace and rise above everything. Kody Brown's sad goodbye, a made-up story based on Sister Wives. Kody Brown stood quietly on the porch of his once busy home in Arizona. The desert breeze flowed softly across the broad plains. The sun was going down behind the red cliffs, and everything was bathed in gold light. It had been months, no, years of chaos, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. Kody felt something new for the first time in a long time: clarity. He had decided what to do. Kody Brown, who used to be the proud head of a large polygamous family with 4 wives and 18 kids, was leaving it all behind. The emotional weight had finally outweighed the happiness. Years of fighting, breaking up, unmet expectations, and heartbreak had worn him down and left him empty. The man who used to believe in the power of plural marriage now just saw broken vows and waning affection. Kody mumbled to himself as he looked out across the wide horizon. "I thought I could hold us all together. But maybe I was just holding on to a dream that stopped being real a long time ago." Robin Brown sat calmly at the kitchen table inside the house. She was the last wife Kody had. Christine, Mary, and Janelle had all moved on over time, choosing a life of independence, tranquility, and self-worth over the mayhem that was behind. Robin always thought that she and Kody were meant to be together, especially after the others went. She thought they had a strong bond. But when Kody informed her what he had decided that morning, it felt like her whole world was falling apart. He stated softly but firmly, "I'm leaving, Robin. Not just the house. Not only Flagstaff. I'm leaving everyone and everything. I have to discover myself again." She had started to cry and was holding on to his arm in despair. "Then I'm going with you, Kody. We'll start afresh, with just the 2 of us. Don't leave me behind, please." But Kody shook his head in a way that hurt. "No, Robin. That's the issue. I've always brought someone with me. I've always had someone around me. But now I need to find peace, but I can't do that if I'm still carrying everything and everyone." Robin heard those words again as she watched him zip up his old leather bag. His eyes, which had once been full of ambition, now appeared gentle and far away, like a guy who had come to terms with his past and was ready to face the future. He kissed her forehead one last time. "No promises. No, I'll come back. Just a quiet goodbye." A pickup truck covered in dust was waiting outside. Kody threw his suitcase into the back, stopped for a second, and gazed up at the house. The kids' joy, the fights at supper, and the holiday mayhem are all just memories anymore. Each window appeared to show a part of his life, and now it was time to put the book down. The truck rumbled to life when he turned the key. He didn't turn around. The road ahead was long and twisting, and it didn't go anywhere in particular, but to him, it meant everything. He had no idea where he was headed. Maybe a little cabin in Montana, or a peaceful place by the sea where no one knew his name. He just knew he needed to be alone. He needed to breathe without the stress of failed marriages and being a bad father weighing down on his chest. Robin was standing on the porch with her arms wrapped firmly around herself and tears flowing down her face. She saw the man she had built her life around vanish into the distance, absorbed by the sunset and the dust on the road. Weeks later, The Brown family would hear rumors. Some others stated that Kody had located a tiny house on a lake in Wyoming. Some people heard that he was trekking alone in the Grand Tetons. Christine said softly to Janelle, "Maybe he'll finally figure out what he wants." Janelle nodded. Maybe he'll finally get what he already had. But Kody didn't care about comprehending the past anymore. It was about beginning anew as a man who just wanted to find serenity in silence, not as a husband, father, or the face of a reality show. And sometimes, tranquility starts when all else stops. But the air outside Flagstaff was calm, but inside Robin Brown's house, feelings were like a desert storm. She sat on the side of her bed, her eyes red from not sleeping and crying all the time. Robin could no longer pretend that everything was fine since the Brown family was falling apart. The stress had been building for months.
Christine was gone already.
Janelle and Kody weren't talking much. Mary had relocated to Utah for good, where she could make her own life away from the multiple pandemonium. And Robin, Kody's wife who used to be his best friend and emotional support, was suddenly drowning in remorse. Robin held a family meeting one night, which hadn't happened in a long time. Janelle, who was calm but interested, said yes. Mary joined the call from her bed and breakfast in Utah. Christine said no nicely, but everyone knew she wouldn't be there. Kody sat quietly with his arms folded and his jaw clenched as they came together. Robin stood in the middle of the room, her hands shaking a little. "I have to say something," she said, her voice breaking. "I feel like I have a part in where we are now. Yes, I've been there for Kody, but maybe I didn't fight hard enough for the rest of you. I might have let things go because I thought love meant not saying anything. But now, I can see that it hurt all of us." The room became quiet. Janelle made a face. "Robin, it wasn't all your fault. But let's be honest. Kody did start to put you first. It shifted the equilibrium. We all knew it. And you didn't stop him." Robin's face was wet with tears. "I was scared. I felt I might lose him if I rocked the boat." The screen showed Mary's voice. "Robin, we all lost something. But the difference is that you still had him while we were losing ourselves." Kody moved around uneasily, but didn't say anything. Robin approached Kody in the kitchen later that night, after everyone else had gone. "You need to fix this, Kody," she replied forcefully. "I can't handle this guilt by myself." "No, I won't." Kody looked at her with tired eyes and a broken spirit. "You think this is easy for me? While everyone else keeps running, I'm striving to keep our family together." "No," Robin answered softly. "They're not running. They're getting away." Her comments hit home. The next day, Robin did something that shocked everyone. She drove to Janelle's little apartment. She held a handwritten letter in her hand as she stood at the door. She continued, "I wrote this for you, Christine and even Mary," when Janelle answered. Not as Kody's wife. Not as a favorite, but as Robin. A woman who messed up. And who is trying to fix things. Janelle took the letter, but she hesitated. "I don't know if an apology will fix everything," she said in a low voice. Robin nodded. "Maybe not. But that's where I have to begin." Weeks went by. Robin started going to therapy. She asked Christine to coffee and was startled when she came. Mary wrote back to Robin's apologies letter with a short but kind note. Janelle even looked more open. Even though Kody still didn't want to do it, something had changed. Not like it used to be in the family, that time was over. But not in Robin. She was finally moving out of the shadow of guilt and into the light of responsibility for the first time in years. "I might not be able to fix everything, but if I can own up to my part, maybe, just maybe, healing can start." So the Brown family was at a crossroads. The future is unknown, but the stillness is now over. But the warm rays of the Utah sun fell on the rough-hewn wooden porch where Janelle Brown sat with a steaming cup of herbal tea. She glanced out over the silent terrain and felt the unusual peace of being alone in the morning. Things had changed a lot in the last year. She had broken up with Kody, her kids were becoming more independent, and she had found herself again. She hadn't seen Mary in almost 6 months, since the last family get-together that ended with awkward grins and empty vows to stay in touch. But today, Mary was coming. Not as a wife. Not even as a woman who is married to more than one man.
Just like Mary.
Janelle looked up as she heard tires on gravel. In front of her cabin, a silver SUV came to a stop. Mary got out of the car. She was wearing jeans, a plain shirt, and a shy grin. She wore her auburn hair in a loose bun, and she seemed more stable than Janelle had recalled her. "Hey," Mary said as she walked up to the stairs. Janelle got up and smiled. "Hey you. A long time." They hugged, which was awkward at first but real. The hug brought back memories for both women, years of competitiveness, shared anguish, anger, and sometimes even silent solidarity. They made themselves comfortable in the cabin's living room. Mary looked about while Janelle poured another cup of tea. "This place is perfect for you," Mary remarked with all her heart. "It's quiet." "That's why I chose it," Janelle said. "After everything, I needed some time alone to think, breathe, and figure out who I am without all the family drama." Mary nodded slowly. "I get that. In Utah, I've been doing the same thing. Taking care of the bed and breakfast, and working on my retreats. I didn't know how much I had lost myself in becoming the first wife. I wasn't even joyful. I was just holding on." There was a long pause, but it wasn't awkward. It made me think. Janelle spoke up. "Do you ever think we could have been friends? Like, actual friends? What if things were different?" Mary laughed quietly. "I used to blame you for a lot. For not supporting me when Kody left, for being so powerful while I was weak.
But what about now?"
I suppose I was just afraid of being alone myself." Janelle stared at her tea. "Me too, I was scared. Of being stuck. Of giving up who I am, so that someone else can feel complete." They sat quietly again, letting their remarks hang in the air. Mary took a little photo album out of her backpack after a while. "I found this as I was cleaning out my closet. It's from our first trip together with all 4 wives and the kids, when it still felt like we were all in it together." As Janelle flicked over the pages, she grinned. There they were, young, innocent, and full of hope. "We really did try, didn't we?" Mary said. "We did. And maybe we didn't always get it right. But I believe it's great to try." They took a walk along the trail behind the cabin later that afternoon. The smell of pine and summer flowers made the air smell fresh. Mary asked Janelle, "What's next for you?" as they strolled. Janelle said honestly, "I'm not sure yet. But I know I want to keep choosing myself. I want to make a life for myself that isn't borrowed, shared, or compromised." Mary grinned. "Same here. Maybe we can help each other with that." "Maybe we already are," Janelle answered with a smile. They laughed. It wasn't forced for the first time in a long time. As the sun began to set, sending golden light over the hills, the 2 women stood next to each other. They were no longer sister wives, but survivors of something complicated, messy, and very human. And in that moment of tranquility they shared, they weren't just catching up. They were getting better.
But
the Brown family gathered in a big living room in Flagstaff, Arizona, as the sun shone brightly. The air was thick with tension, like a storm was about to break. Kody stood in the middle, hands moving quite a lot while he talked to his wives Mary, Janelle, Robin, and Christine. Kody added, "This is what I've wanted for years," with a hopeful tone in his voice. "All of us living together in one house. No more separate homes. One big, beautiful house where we can all live together as a family." Mary nodded slowly. "It sounds like a new beginning." "It could fix so many problems with logistics," Janelle said. Robin, who had always been close to Kody, even smiled. "I think the kids would love it." Christine, on the other hand, stayed quiet, crossed her arms, and stared out the window. She took a big breath when everyone turned to look at her. "I can't do it," Christine stated with conviction. Kody blinked. "What do you mean?" she said. "I don't want to live with the other wives anymore." And her voice was steady. "I've been trying to make it work for years. Being close is one thing. But living together again? In the same house? No." The room got quiet. Christine kept talking, her voice full of feeling. "I've always felt that I was just a side piece in this household. Like I had to work hard to get attention. For space. For peace. Do you remember what it was like to live in Lehigh? The fights, the jealousy, the competitiveness that isn't there?
I don't want to go back to that life.
Robin seemed hurt.
We've all changed since then. We've learned a lot.
This time, maybe, Christine gently but firmly cut in. No. This time, I'm picking myself. Janelle stared at her and understood. Christine, is this about your relationship with Kody? Or all of us? Christine was unsure. It's everything. I don't feel as close to you as I used to. I need to be free. I need room to grow, to get better. I want to be a good mother to Truly and a nice grandmother one day. And I can't accomplish that if I keep making myself smaller to fit into a mold that doesn't fit me anymore. Kody looked shocked. So, you're saying you won't be in the new house at all? Christine nodded. I'll still be a member of the family, but in my own area, my own house. I already found a place to live in Utah. It's not big, but it's mine. And I feel calm there. Robin got up with tears in her eyes. We're supposed to work together. Christine looked her in the eye. We were a group, but I believe the group has changed. That's okay. Kody carefully sat down and ran a hand over his hair. I never thought this would happen. I know, Christine answered. But I have thought about an alternative life for myself. One when I'm not simply getting by, but really joyful. There was quiet again. But this time, there was no stress, only thought. Mary eventually spoke up, her voice low. I respect your bravery, Christine. Christine grinned, and her eyes sparkled. Thanks. I looked for it for years. Christine stepped outdoors and stared up at the sky as the conference ended. The air seemed lighter, and her heart was free. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she was moving towards something instead than away from it. She knew that the path ahead would be hard, but she also understood that it was hers to walk. By herself.
Strong.
And last but not least, free.
But
it was a cool afternoon in Flagstaff. Mary walked down the courtroom steps, holding a little folder full of official papers. The wind murmured through the trees. Her hand shook, not because it was cold, but because she had just finished something really important. After decades of living together, making sacrifices, and having terrible silences, she and Kody Brown were officially divorced. The chapter was over. For good. She stayed there for a time, closed her eyes, and took deep breaths to attempt to take it all in. Like two old rivals who had to live together, freedom and sadness danced inside her. Mary had always thought that love could fix everything. She believed in sticking with it, even when it hurt. But the last few years had showed her a different truth, one that got louder every time Kody pulled away and stopped caring. Robin perched on the edge of her couch and carefully watched the clock. She knew what today meant for Mary. She had tried to phone Mary before, but Mary didn't respond. Robin felt a whirlwind of guilt in her chest. She has become the closest wife to Kody in the last few years. She didn't want things to become so out of whack, but they did. And now, Mary was gone, not just in her heart but also in the law. Kody went into the room and plainly didn't want to make eye contact. So, did she sign? He inquired, as if it were a commercial deal. Robin squinted. Yes, she did sign. It's finished. Kody, you might want to try to show some respect. She spent years of her life with you. He grunted and sat down without saying a word, looking at his phone. Robin looked at him, and her throat started to tighten. There was something different about Kody, or maybe it had always been there, and they all just decided to ignore it. That night, Christine asked Mary to come over for dinner. At first, it was difficult because their relationship had always been tricky. But tonight was different. Christine had also been through a traumatic breakup with Kody, so she was the only one who could really empathize. Mary finally spoke over a warm cup of butternut squash soup. It's over. It's really done. Christine's eyes were gentle as she reached across the table. It's not over yet, Mary. It's a start. Mary laughed bitterly. A start of what? Being alone at 53? Starting afresh when everyone thinks I'm the wife who was forgotten? No, Christine responded with certainty. It's the start of you choosing you. The two women sat together for hours that night, telling stories, laughing and crying. They knew that the man they used to love had changed into someone they didn't know, but they had each found pieces of themselves in the wreckage of their marriages.
Days went by.
Mary relocated to a quiet house in Utah, which was closer to her family and her bed and breakfast. She worked on restoring not only her life, but also who she was. She began writing again, keeping a journal of her pain, her new insights, and the little things that were suddenly bringing her happiness. Janelle and Christine came over a lot, and the link between the women, which used to be about Kody, was now strong in sisterhood and survival. They were more than just ex-wives of the same man. They were ladies who had learned to value themselves again. Kody stayed in Flagstaff, still confused by his own decisions. He didn't know that everything he had sought to hold together with rules and control had really been built on the strength and love of women who had outgrown him. Mary sits on the porch of her Utah house, looking out over the mountains as the sun rises. Yes, the divorce is final, but her story has only just begun. She smiles softly and talks to herself. I may have lost my marriage, but I found myself. That was the most crucial promise she ever honored in the end.
But
a single remark that rang in Christine's heart broke the peace of the Arizona morning. I trusted him. For years, she had lived in a fragile web of shared dreams, modest sacrifices, and murmured commitments. Now she knew that most of them were only hers to keep. Kody had promised each of them love, care, and justice. And Christine, who always believed, held on to those words like they were holy text. She had faith in him. She believed him when he stated he would be there for all of his wives equally. She believed him when he looked her in the eyes after Truly was born and said, "You'll always have me." But things have changed a lot lately. And maybe, just maybe, it had been falling apart for a longer time than she wanted to accept. It all started with the little things. He didn't come by her house anymore. There were a lot of excuses. Too busy with Robin's kids, Mary needed him for something, or even worse, no message at all. Christine would make dinners he never came to eat, set out games he never played, and hold in stories she never got to tell. Truly would question, "When is Dad coming?" And Christine would smile with tired eyes and say, "Soon, dear." But shortly never happened. Janelle saw it too. As she and Christine were outdoors under the stars one night, she muttered, "Kody's been different. He's only there for Robin's family," she said. Christine bit her lip. She didn't want to believe it. Not yet. He wouldn't leave them behind. Not really. But then the betrayal came, and it finally broke her. Christine heard something that shook her soul one cool autumn evening. She heard Kody's voice, laughing, warm, and alive in a way she hadn't heard in months, while walking by Robin's window. He said, "I'm just tired of faking it with the others. This is the only real marriage I have left." Christine stopped moving. The words cut her like a knife. Are you kidding? Was her love, her life, and her years just a show for him? The air around her appeared to stop, and the laughter inside her head turned into a bitter taunt. She stumbled back, hand on her chest, attempting to calm the tempest that was brewing inside her. Christine stayed in her car for hours that night before heading home. She cried and whispered over and over, "I trusted him." She remembered every time she stood up for him to her kids. She said to the cameras, "We're working on it. We're strong." Every time she told herself that this week might be different. She thought they were a team, and it was the basis of her world. But she knew now that Kody had long since departed her heart, even though his stuff were still in her garage.
Christine called a meeting the next day.
Janelle and Mary came, and their faces revealed a mix of worry and interest. Of course, Robin didn't come. She never did when things got tough. Christine stood in the living room with a calm but powerful voice.
"I'm going," she said.
"I deserve more than being an afterthought to someone. I believed in him. I loved him. But love should be given back, not held back like leftovers." Janelle held her close. "I'm proud of you." Mary didn't say anything. Her own storm was rising softly. Christine put the memories away. She took the pictures, the kids' drawings, and the few things that used to signify something. Then she went. Utah embraced her with wide arms. Christine finally found the calm she had been looking for so long in the solitude of her new house. Her kids laughed a lot. Her heart took a long time to heal. She didn't see a victim in the mirror. She saw a woman who had been reborn. Christine told her experience on a podcast years later. When people ask me why I left, she continued, I just say one thing. I trusted him. Sometimes, though, the best thing to do is to walk away when trust is shattered. And she did. With power. With style. Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sabrina, and I hope your day is going well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the video.